All right, let's get started. Um, Hi, everyone. I am Naomi of Arito Aurora, the founder of Diversified Van Life. Thank you all so much for joining me tonight for this incredible retreat. We have lots of fun and engaging things planned, and I'm really excited to hang out with all of you, wonderful people. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to introduce the Diversified Van Life team, Jamie and Anais, and I want to invite them to say something. Jamie and Anais.
Go ahead, Anais.
Hi, I am your community manager. It's really nice to see everyone here. I'm so excited. I'm like literally bursting. You probably, if I haven't directly talked to you, I probably responded to your comments, or I'm all in the DMs usually. But hello, and I'm happy everyone's here.
Hi, I'm Jamie. I just want to thank everyone for taking time out of your day to join us. We've been very, very, very excited about this event. So thank you for also prioritizing it.
Thank you, guys. It's the awesome team at Diversified Fan Life. None of this would be possible without them. But before we go any further, I'd like to take a moment to say a few words about our sponsor, LifeStraw. This event would not be possible without them. And I do believe we have a rep from LifeStraw, Jasmine. And I just want to pass the mic for Jasmine to say a few words on behalf of LifeStraw.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being a part of this event. Like she said, we're definitely excited to be here. I am the new content and community manager at LifeStraw, so this is like my 4th week now. So up and running, but I really love what you all are doing, and so I'm just happy to be here and looking forward to this event.
Oh, thank you, Jasmine. And another thing, I got to shout out everybody. For me, one of the best things about creating a platform like Diversified Fan Life is collaborating with awesome people within our community, which is why Diversified Van Life is so excited to have teamed up with the amazing folks at Van Life Pride founders Abigail and Natalie, who are also participating in tonight's event. So a big shout out to Van Life Pride. Abby and Natalie, do you want to say anything before we continue?
Sure thing. we're super excited to collaborate. We've been fans of Diversified Van Life from the beginning. I mean, actually, Diversify Van Life, what you started, was actually the biggest inspiration for us to start Van Life Pride. So I don't know if we'd be here without you. So thank you.
Aw, love you guys. All right. So now we're just gonna introduce the panelists, starting with Abby and Abby and Natalie.
Hey everybody, I am Natalie Rodriguez. I am half of Let's Play Ride and Seek on Instagram and also half founder of Van Life Pride, started with my wife. We are super excited to be here and to be able to share some really cool, intimate time with you guys. So we appreciate it.
And I'm Abigail, the other half of Let's Play Ride and Seek and the Van Life Pride team. Yeah, I'm really excited to be here and do this event with you guys. Like this is awesome. We've been looking forward to it.
Bree.
Hi. It's me. I'm Bree. I'm like actually fanning because I religiously watched Navi's videos and now I'm like introducing myself after them on a panel. So this is like, okay. Anywho, I'm Bree from Does This Count as Van Life. I'm so excited to be part of this. I love both Diversified Van Life and Van Life Pride. I'm so glad that we like have this space to do this thing. And like, yeah, I don't know. I'm really excited to get into it.
Thank you. I think Farron.
Farron, unmute yourself.
Farron, you're muted.
Sorry, I told you this would happen.
No worries.
I warned you. Hey guys, I'm Farron. My Instagram handle is Farron_wanderer, which is kind of like unnecessary repetition. My name Farron actually means wanderer, so my mom got it right because I live in a van. Yeah, super excited to be here. And yeah, I'm also kind of fangirling right now because I've stalked a lot of you on Instagram for a long time. Just like commenting on your stuff and hyping you up because you're amazing. And yeah, I'm just really honored to be included as someone who identifies as female and is on the road and is part of this amazing community. You guys are so cool. So thanks for including me.
You. Veronica, I think, is next. She here? No. Bex.
Yes, I'm here. I don't know if you can see me or not.
I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I gave the permissions for the camera, but it, for some reason, doesn't seem to want to show the camera. But I'm Bex, cat herder, and really excited to be here. This is the first one of these meetings I've done, and I'm really thankful to be invited. So thank you very much. I think one thing that a lot of people might not know is that many years ago, I was a co-organizer of Camp Trans, the protest camp outside of Michigan Women's Music Festival. So, but thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda, they, she, and I go by Tideline to Alpine all over the internet. And I've lived with my dog Frank in a van for almost 7 years as a way of managing living with disabilities. Yeah, it's feel really nice to be welcomed here. So thanks.
Thank you. And I believe Ray is next.
Hi everybody, I am Ray. I'm so happy to be here. My Instagram handle is Affordable Happiness, and this is actually one of my first events like this. I know everything's been virtual, and I know that Vanlife community has had other events, and I'm just extremely grateful to be here, especially considering the topic of discussion. So I'm excited to hear from everyone. And yeah, excited to get started.
Thank you guys so much. I'm really excited to get started. So let's do it. I would like to invite Ajane of the meditation bus, who would lead us in meditation centering in. So Ajane, you can take it from here. I think you're muted, so.
Unmute?
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Much love, everyone. Can you all hear me pretty good? I know I'm kind of far away. We're good? Okay, awesome. So yes, my name is Ajane. I'm here with my family of the meditation bus. That is our Instagram page. We have our school bus that we converted into our tiny home / mobile wellness center, where we are able to travel and share our love of sound healing, yoga, and meditation with others. So that's what we do. We do virtual sessions. Now, obviously, that things are kind of stationary a little bit. But yes, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna introduce you all to sound healing. If it's something that you've never heard of before, we're going to be using a variety of sound bowls or singing bowls, you can also call them, and a few other instruments that we use. Can they hear me? Are we good? I want to make sure those comments. Okay, awesome. Okay. So yes, if you all want to go ahead, find a comfortable space, you can do so seated or lying down, flat on your back. That works as well. That helps you to ground yourself, to center yourself if you would like to do so lying down, right? So whatever is most comfortable for you. Now, before we begin, I would like for everyone to take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and do that a couple of times just to help calm the nervous system, to calm your mind, to release any energy from the day, and kind of center yourself in this space with everyone to set your intention for this gathering and for this community gathering that we have here today. So deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth. One more time. Out through your mouth. And a third time in through your nose. Out through your mouth. And continue to focus on that breath throughout this sound healing and meditation.
Thank you, Ajane
Thank you.
and family. That was so beautiful. Thought I was gonna go to sleep. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes. Thank you as well.
Um, well, let's jump in and hear from our panelists. We're gonna jump in with our first question, which has to do with making friends on the road. I know for me, when I first started with, when I first got into van life, making femme friends on the road was really difficult. I experienced a lot of loneliness, even though I am traveling with a partner. I wish there had been a space like this, you know, or someone to give me tips on making and nurturing these connections on the road, because our experiences as underrepresented nomads are unique. And it's important to have a circle of friends that you can relate to, who understands and can support us. So, to our panelists, how do you make femme friends on the road? And anyone can jump in, popcorn style.
Well, I'll start.
Okay.
So I'll start by saying that Abby and I, when we started van life, we did not go into it with the intention of meeting people to start, because we saved a lot of money and it was about travel for us. But in that travel, we found people serendipitously on the road. It wasn't something we were seeking, but randomly just parking somewhere and not looking for that intention, we found a couple of relationships that became very important to us. Two of these were definitely in Baja, Mexico. When we were there, there's an influx of snowbirds that come in there and people from all over the world. And so, you know, me being more of an introvert, when we were parked at a beach, it was like people coming to park very close to us. Sometimes I would be overwhelmed and I would be like, look, you got to learn some etiquette. You're a little too close to us. And I would kind of shun the idea of meeting somebody. But in that is where we found some of the most important relationships on the road that we still, you know, are still part of our lives. And so I think being open to it, even if that's not something you're seeking, is huge. And those people are people that we consider someone that even in my own life before van life are, they taught me so much about friendship, because what I was seeking in my own life before van life were people that I was working with or people that I associated with, and not a way that was conducive to helping me grow. It was more just circumstance. So these people living the way that I was really helped shape my growth, because we all had the same intention of doing something more important to us and seeking a higher reasoning for living life. And so even though those relationships in Baja were fleeting, they're always going to be something that means so much more to me. And now at this point, I take into account when I'm trying to meet other people in my life, or even friends from the past, that I reevaluate those friendships because of, you know, the importance of the few people that we were able to meet and how that shaped a friendship in general. So
to go off, sorry. To go off of what you said, it's so funny because I didn't think that there were a lot of people. At least I live on Long Island in New York, and I'm stationary during the week for work. And I didn't think that there were a lot of van lifers around here, or people living in their vans. But it's funny because I'll park somewhere and I have a lot of writing on my van. And just like you said about meeting people randomly, people will come to me and they'll be like, you know, I really enjoy what you have on your van. And they'll see that I have a full kitchen. They're like, oh, you know, I actually live in my RV and I live, you know, we're also doing van life. And I've met so many people that way who live around me, and I would have never thought that there were that many people sharing a similar experience with me here in such a what feels like a small space. So I definitely agree with it being so spontaneous, and going and like developing these friendships and bonds beyond circumstances, like beyond work. So I think that's been such a interesting journey, learning how to because I find myself to be very introverted. So when someone approaches me, I'm like, oh no, please. But it has definitely shown me how to be more open, especially being a solo van lifer. And I feel like it's so important to have those connections and to be open to it. And I think that van life has given me the opportunity to work with that and to learn.
Thank you. I resonate so much. So thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? If not,
this is Bex.
Oh, Bex, right.
So yeah, I just kind of wanted to echo what they were saying as well. I don't know if you can hear me. But one of the things that I've done to meet other people was to go to gatherings. And as an example, like Naomi and I met at Descend on Bend several years ago. And one of the things that I've really kind of consciously been doing in the last few years is when I meet people I really like and I really connect with, is to really try to nurture those relationships, because they're pretty fleeting and pretty, it's kind of rare to meet someone that you really, really connect with. And so, yeah, you really have to make an effort at that point to say, okay, yeah, we need to, you know, keep our relationship around. So, yeah, that's it.
I kind of want to piggyback off of what Bex just said. Jamie here. So like there are many ways to meet people, including gatherings, and I also think a difficult part is maintaining those relationships. And I know that this is going to sound really cheesy, but something I literally do is I put events in my calendar of like text Anais or call Naomi or something like that, just so like, so I'll be hanging out one day and then my phone will go off and be like, don't forget later today, you need to call Naomi and just see how she's doing. And so, and like, if you look at my calendar, like at least once a week, I'm contacting someone. Otherwise I forget about it.
That's a really good point. Thanks.
A little bit. Because I'm the worst at phone calls and pandemic has forced me to get on the phone. So just like you, Jamie, I am like, I have to write it down or I forget. I have to make a schedule. Otherwise, I'm lonely.
You literally took those words out of my mouth, Anais, because I was going to say like the pandemic has been, instrumental in forcing me, to maintain and nurture these relationships. And Jamie, is the one that gave me the idea to schedule my calls. So I've been doing that. So thanks, Jamie. That's a really good tip. Does anyone else want to add anything? Our panelists?
Yeah. So, okay. So, Jamie, first of all, thank you for that idea. And everybody else, I'm so sorry if you've ever texted me or like messaged me. I am the worst about getting back. My ADHD brain has not let me like be a good friend. So like the internet has been instrumental, and like what Ray and Nat and Abby were saying, like being open to making friends, because people will try to talk to me and I'm like, what do you want? I don't know you. Can I help you? And it's like half the time they're just like, hey, I also like live on the road. Like, do you want to talk? And I'm like, ew. But like being on the road has really like forced me to be open to it, because otherwise like I'm not gonna talk to nobody. I got my Instagram friends that I forget to text back because I'm not Jamie and I don't have alerts yet. But like I think that's definitely it. Like utilizing the internet has been the thing for me. Like I have to make the conscious effort to reach out to people, or like sometimes we just connect on random things, and like remembering to follow up with that person, or like even if it's just sending like memes, and like eventually you get to the point where it's like, oh, let's meet up. Like that has been so cool on the road, especially in the age of COVID, because it's like, I don't know, it's just so much harder, it feels like. I don't know.
It is a lot harder. I have to agree with that. Anyone else?
Yeah. For myself, I have a real tendency to like hide in the forest. So staying connected to the internet and not going where there's no internet, because a lot of the friends I make are online. Like Farron, who's here, like we're so excited to meet someday, and we've connected through Instagram. And yeah, it's just like, that's been really nice, because van life can be so spread out, but we're all connected through there. So, and then we have the freedom to, meet up in real life someday.
That brings me to our poll. I have a poll for everyone to participate in. It's anonymous, so feel free to go ahead and answer. Do y'all see that? Yeah, okay. How do you make femme friends on the road? Multiple choice, social media, events, random encounters. I find it difficult to make femme friends on the road. Other. I have to say, for me, social media has been instrumental in making friends on the road, especially past few months since Diversify Van Life. I've met so many amazing people and have been able to maintain and nurture those relationships. So I'm really grateful for that. Let me see. Almost everyone.
Yeah, and on that note, just like you said about, diversified van life has like brought you to meet so many people. We'd say the same thing about Van Life Pride and Diversified Van Life. Like those hubs are really connecting us with people that we know that we want to get to know better. So we're going to do that virtually, and like just really hope to meet those people in person too. But I mean, social media is a really awesome way to find friends, for sure, that you know you have something in common with already. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. It's like, you know, with Diversified Van Life and Van Life Pride, I feel like I have so much in common, you know, with those two communities. So I feel really grounded in those friendships and connections. I see random encounters and social media are racing. All right, let's see here. Okay, so social media is winning. With that, I have a community question for everyone. What opportunities would you like to see in order to connect with more femme friends on the road? And I'm going to drop it in the chat. So you can drop your answers to that question in the chat. Personally, I would like more events like this, where Ajane can lead us in beautiful meditations, and we can share our insights on the road. And the panelists, feel free to share your thoughts as well. More events like this, yes. Next, Anais created beautiful activities she'd like for us to participate in. I'll let Anais introduce it.
Okay, so if you have a pen and paper, get that ready, or you can just do it in your mind. But on your own, just be honest with yourself and kind of make a list of like ideal qualities that you would love to have in like a best friend, like someone that would, you know, help you grow, help you feel seen, make you feel loved, whatever qualities those are, like 3, 4 qualities. And just write that down, and I'll share mine. We can pass it to the panel. They can share theirs. Drop it in the chat if you want to share with everyone what those qualities are. I said that in order for me to feel like I would grow, I would love to have someone that is like a mirror. Kind of, I spoke to Natasha, who's here, about this last week. That, you know, someone who can like be really, really honest with me, hold up that mirror and be like, you're being crazy, or no, you're standing in your truth, and you know what you're saying is valid. So ask yourself why those qualities are important to you. And like I said, that being a mirror for me is really important because I need someone to just tell it to me straight. That helps me grow. I really value being self-aware. So, you know, having that outside point of view from someone that I trust, someone that I love, is really important to me. Now I kind of want you to just think about, and I see some of you are sharing that in the chat as well, that you like a good listener. Yeah, I like that. I want you to ask yourself, are you, these qualities that you thought of, whatever they are you being those to other people? Are you embodying, someone said radical honesty, or Jamie, you said radical honesty. Are you being radically honest with the circles around you? I want to pass it to the panelists and see what you guys came up with. What are some qualities that you find ideal in a best friend, and why are they important to you? And are you being those qualities in your circles?
Hey, I'll jump in real quick. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay, cool. So I happen to travel with a partner who's not female. So sometimes there's a lot of just emotional conflict because males just don't get it sometimes. And so I find myself, when I seek female friends on the road or through social media, I seek people who seem to speak about emotion fairly openly and honestly, and just not afraid to have a cry in front of you, not afraid to just open their heart and tell a moving story. Sometimes it can be an ugly story, but I find that that initiates a safe space where we can just be open with each other, very emotional and honest and gritty, because there's things only we go through that only we will get. And I used to be very antisocial, thinking, well, I'm lucky to have a partner with me in the van who's very easy to live with, so I don't really need to turn to anyone else. But as months passed in the van, it became pretty clear to me that I need female friends who understand when I'm on my period. Like, I have rage sometimes, and only you will understand what I'm going through. And as much as my partner will buy me ice cream, it doesn't help. So and as much as I seek that emotional safe space in others, I try to be that emotional safe space also. And now we have to do things virtually. So I find myself just doing things like reacting to people's Instagram stories, like obsessively. If I see they're going through something that even hints that they have an emotional need, I'll start sending messages and reactions and just checking in, like, open up to me. I'll send you a long voice note. You can send me one back, you know? So I try to just contribute to creating that space.
Wow.
Wow, Farron, thank you so much. That was amazing. Yeah, and I could relate to so many things, Naomi, you were saying.
Yeah, no, I agree. You took the words again. Like that's beautiful and powerful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Let's move on to our, thank you, Anais. That was such a beautiful activity. I'm gonna take that and run with it. Thank you so much for that. Yes, our next question for the panelists: how can we, as femme non-binary nomads, network and support each other? What does that look like to you? Being supported.
So I think going off of how we even meet each other, going off of that, I think social media is such a great place to start, especially where we are right now, especially considering like the circumstances. And so I feel like when we network, you know, we have to be consistent, and because I know that's something that I struggle with. And so I feel like a really good way to even begin that is what we're doing right now, is to create events, to be consistent, to reach out to one another, because there are a lot of times where I know I won't reach out or I won't do these things because either I don't feel like I have enough knowledge around this topic or something, but like how you reached out to me, and how Let's Play Ride and Seek reached out to me, and you guys kind of bring people together, and I think that's so great. And that's because here is where we meet so many people, and I would have never met so many people if I wasn't being tagged in posts, or and I find a lot of people through how you guys share on your Instagram, how you're meeting all these people who are on the road and you share their stories. And I know that's how I've met a lot of people. And I think that networking in that type of way is really great and helpful.
Thank you. I agree. That's how, you know, I'm able to find support and support others as well. So I resonate with that. Does anyone else have anything to share?
Yeah, I do. Just to like back off Ray, like I think that Naomi, whenever we kind of first connected about this, I like said it too. Like I think so far this is probably like the best iteration of like a support network, or like a safe space, or like even a communal space that I've seen so far. Like since we've had to shift everything digital, like this is, I think, such an innovative way to use what we've got to connect with people, and we get like there's just so many more people that we would not have even. Some of us are in different like reaches of the internet, and I found like 5,000, like so many people through you and through Diversify Van Life and Diversify Van Life Pride and like things like this, that I think that just continuing to do these is going to be so cool as we move forward, like in this rather uncharted time that we're all like going through together.
Beautiful. Thank you for that.
Yeah, one thing I was going to add Oh, someone else can speak if they want.
No, go ahead, Jamie.
Okay. Well, if you didn't see in the chat, I just want to amplify Farron. When you see a femme non-binary nomad has a project, side hustle, or mission, hype it up, buy, support, share. And on top of that, also like reach out to these people and be like, what are you working on that I could help support you with? However that might be, whether it's hyping it up publicly or privately, helping in some way, whether they need an ear or whatever the case may be.
Agreed. Yeah. Natalie, did you?
Yeah, I was just wanting to add to keep everyone to share your story. Feel like you can share your story, whether that's vulnerability or triumph. You know, asking question, offering advice, just always feeling like you can have that space. Because since we've been able to create this hub to start, I think if everybody is, you know, can be more open to feeling that power and feeling that you can have a space that whatever it is, like being as vulnerable as you can, because people are going to relate to that vulnerability, because it takes a lot for people to show up in that way. And I think a big part of Let's Play, Write, and Speak and my hope on our feed is to share my story and be as open about it as possible. And in doing that, as hard as that has been for me as an introvert, you know, in writing and doing self-care for myself, it's really, I've had so many people reach out to me and be like, thank you so much. And that's opened up the space for them to do the same thing. So it's a win-win for me, because I'm able to open myself up, and it's a power, and then that also brings other people in and being able to feel like they can do the same thing. So that's been huge for me to have that platform.
Beautiful. I agree so much. Authenticity is an act of resistance. So I resonate with that so much. Thank you for sharing. I have a question for the whole community. I'm going to drop it in the chat as well, like a two-part question. How do you support those closest to you? And when you need support, what do you wish to receive from others? And I think we kind of touched on it a little bit, but you guys are welcome to, panelists, you can share if you have anything you want to share. And yeah, and the community, you can type your answers in the chat as well.
Yeah, I try to support the people closest. Oh, can you hear me? Am I? Okay, yeah. I recognize that I only have so much energy, and so I try to be mindful of that, so I don't spend it in places where it doesn't matter as much, so I can focus it on the people I care about and the people that are close to me and the people I want to be in community with, and not get distracted with, there's so many things happening on the internet and stuff coming from everywhere. So I just try to, you know, I only have so much, and put where it counts.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I just want to say, if you're not on the panel, can you please mute yourself? Because I'm getting some background noise. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for sharing, Amanda. Let me look in the chat. Okay. So this next question for the panelists is about safety. And I'm just gonna go ahead and ask, what do y'all do when shit pops off? Like, for example, you're in an unsafe situation or a toxic situation that you wanna get out of. What do you do? Do y'all have like some kind of strategy in place?
I'm gonna be completely honest. I have absolutely no plan, and so I'm usually stationary for work, and I'll park at like local beaches and things like that. I have not been in a situation where I felt like my safety was a concern, and I would love to learn how other people are taking preventative measures rather than taking measures after something happens, because honestly, that's where I'm headed right now, because I really don't have a plan in place.
Yeah. I'm gonna drop a like a question in the chat for the community, because I want to hear from you guys too. Like, what kind of strategy or strategies would you employ in a toxic, dangerous situation? Because to be honest, like, I don't really have a plan either. I mean, Dustin and I, we have like a little bug out bag, but then somebody, I can't remember who told me that, like, you don't need to bug out. You don't need to bug out. You need to bug in, because you got 4 wheels, you can go, right? So, but still, you know, shit happens. And I'm curious to know if anyone else have like a strategy they're willing to share, or an experience. And you can type it in the chat, or the panelists, you can share if you have anything.
I'm glad we're all being open about the fact that some of us do not have plans, because neither do I. Like, with my 2 giant dogs, it has literally never once crossed my mind that, like, this might not be good. Like, I too have never been in a situation where I'm like, I could die. But like, now in this moment, I realize I should probably have a plan.
I was gonna. Oh, go ahead.
Keep one on deck.
All right, Jamie, I'm taking this one.
Yeah, that's my one piece of advice. Keep a fire extinguisher on hand.
Yeah, I find it interesting that so many people don't have a plan. We feel the same way. I think part of that is kind of the fact that we got into this lifestyle, and a lot of it is unknown. It's something that we just are able to navigate through if it happens. I think simple things, knowing your surroundings, obviously going with your intuition. Women, we have, you know, femmes, we have this in place. Like, you just go with your intuition. If you're in a surrounding that you don't feel comfortable in, assess that and decide from there if it's good or not. You know, we have the power to park where we want to park, and if it doesn't seem right, then we move on. You know, other than that, I feel the same way with our dogs. I feel like if we didn't have our animals personally, that it would be a different situation, and how I felt as far as comfortability. My dog is definitely seemingly scary. He's not really, I would like to think if I was really being attacked that he would do something for me. He's also older, but he definitely has that aggressive bark and that look about him. The other one's just a big fluff ball, but he tries to assert himself, so that means a lot. But yeah, I think having dogs for us personally is huge. I think always knowing where your keys are so that you have the ability to escape. When you are going to a spot, I always make sure we back into a spot so that I can leave immediately. I'm not trying to 3-point turn out of an area, you know. We listen to a lot of survival story podcasts because I think it's something that I love to listen to, but I think I do that because I can learn little tips along the way about how people have been able to get out of situations. And eventually we want to take a class, which we have not done yet, but a self-defense course, which we were talking with Naomi and Jamie about maybe setting something up where we can all figure out a way to do that together. Because we've been saying that we've been on the road 1 year and 6 months and we have not done that, but I keep saying that's something I need to do because I don't know, I don't know what it would be in a situation where it's a serious thing. One thing we did learn is in a self-defense course, hard bone to soft parts. So if you are being attacked, use your hard areas to hit like soft areas on somebody or go for the genitals. So that's what I got.
Or pull out your cast iron pan, right? I have a poll that I'm gonna throw up, and again, this is anonymous, so you don't have to answer. So feel free to answer it, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Do you carry a gun?
So something I do for safety if I'm living around the same town for a while is I make my sleeping unpredictable so that if somebody's watching me, they're going to be less likely to be able to find me. So I always mix it up and go different places and keep my routine really random. So I lived in the same town for a couple of years, and I did that just because, everyone around obviously is like, oh, there's this solo girl by herself. So I wanted to be unfindable. And then also always being able to get into the driver's seat from inside where I'm sleeping in the vehicle I choose and not leaving anything outside I'm not willing to abandon, because if shit goes down, I'm getting in that driver's seat and I don't care who I run over, I'm getting out of there. So yeah, anything else is going to get left behind.
That's a good tip. Always keep the driver's seat clear. That's that's the thing that I always do. Every night I make sure it's clear. I make sure that my keys are close. That's a really good tip. But now, like Abby and Natalie were saying, they have dogs. I have a dog now, and she's, you know, has a very powerful growl. So I actually do feel a lot safer having a dog in the van.
Yeah.
So, okay. So our poll.
So real quick, I was going to add, since we're on the topic of weapons and stuff too, I see this get brought up all the time in Facebook groups, or if someone does their own private posts on like weapons or self-defense or whatever. So many times people bring up bear mace or wasp spray. And I'm not entirely positive about wasp spray, but I do know bear mace, that's like a felony to hit someone with that. So while it does like sound like a really great, oh, I could hit someone with this and that'll injure the shit out of them or whatever, like, yes, it will, but you can get in like huge amounts of trouble for doing that.
Good information.
Thank you, Jamie. Can I just add, someone in the chat said they do have a bug out backpack. I feel like I'm going to butcher your name, so I apologize, but it's Ellie Reina. I'm curious to know what's in your backpack. She says, if we were ever in immediate danger, do we have a backpack at ready? We try to sleep in areas closer to other van lifers, though. That's really cool that you have one packed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to know what's in that bug out bag. For some reason, I don't know if you guys are able to see the poll that I just put up. I ended it, but it won't actually end. But anyway, 93% said no and 4% said yes on the gun question. And I do have another poll question for you guys. If this would, there we go. Here we go. Oh, there it is. That's the results. And the other question, would you be interested in virtual self-defense classes? I would definitely be interested in that. So thank you guys for sharing all that information. So 90% voted. So yes, most of you are interested in virtual self-defense classes. So I guess we gotta get to work figuring this out. Thank you so much. Okay. Moving on, we're gonna jump into mental health and self-care. Our next question for the panelists, what affects your mental health most on the road, both positively and negatively? And I'm gonna drop it in the chat as well. So community members, I also invite you to share your thoughts in the chat.
I know it's kind of odd because it's van life, but honestly, driving too much. Like if we're going, if I can't establish a routine, I start getting very out of balance. So when we're on the road, then we do our best to like go somewhere and stay there until we run out of everything and then go to the next spot. Because our first year on the road, we were just jumping the whole time and we were a mess.
Yeah. I have to agree with you on that. You know, and to add to the driving a lot, what stresses me out the most is looking for service for work. That affects my mental health a lot.
Oh yeah. Definitely the driving is a negative effect. Too much driving. We usually limit ourselves to maybe 4 hours max. I'm going to touch on what positively affects our mental health and then let Natalie touch on some of the negative effects. Positively, being out in nature, van life or being on the road gives you so much time to spend out in nature, and that just is huge for having positive mental health. Also, taking a break from social media, as awesome as it is, scheduling a little time off grid, taking a break, amazing. So that's really important. Meditation, we've been trying to get into more of a daily practice. That's been really helpful. Intimacy, if you're traveling with a partner, making sure that's a regular thing. Also if you're traveling with a partner, making sure your communication is good. Listening to inspiring podcasts, like maybe when you are taking a drive. For us, it just really boosts us up, our mental health, just to listen to other people who are doing really great things for themselves. Just doing things that you love, whether it's for Natalie writing or cooking, for me making art, and then of course exercise and yoga, things like that. Physical things also really great. Yeah.
Thank you. I have to agree. For me, exercise, being able to maintain, semblance of a routine, I suppose, and getting some exercise and moving my body every day really, really helps with my mood. That's really, really one of the things that I strive for, is I have to be able to do this. It's so good for me. It makes me happy. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else?
Yeah, to touch on the negatives. So Jamie had just mentioned writing. Jamie's actually, you got me into writing when I got on the social media. She was so open, and I had been writing for a long time. I've had anxiety for forever, since I can remember. That spawned from PTSD at a young age. And so writing has always been my outlet. But as far as putting it out there, it took a long time for me. So Jamie, you really kind of, set that tone for me on social media, and feeling like I could have that platform and utilize that space. So thank you for that. And yeah, I think writing has been huge for me as someone that's introverted and I internalize a lot. It made a huge difference for me to be able to put that on paper and then look at it and see what I wrote and reference it. Has been a huge way for me to get through things. So I think writing is a positive, but my anxiety being a negative and a positive aspect of that. Again, too much social media. Being in cities too long is a huge thing for me. I get, because of my anxiety, we really, we strive to be off grid as much as possible. So we made sure that we had the electric and the water to be off for 2 weeks or so at a time. Because as soon as I get into a big city, I find that that's been a big issue for me. Not feeling like I'm doing enough with all my time is probably one of the biggest things for me. I have all this time on the road, and Abby, as of right now, Abby is doing more as far as keeping us financially going. And so, I appreciate our relationship, because she really gives me that space to figure out what I want to do and hone in on the things that I'm passionate about. But I beat myself up a lot about feeling like I'm not doing enough to accommodate. So that's kind of something that I've dealt with. And then the other thing being lack of social interaction. Even though I'm an introvert, I try to convince myself that that's not important, which is, the more and more that I'm on the road, I realize that friendships and bonds like that in my family are things that I have taken a little bit for granted. So.
Oh, I resonate with that so much.
Yeah, this is Bex.
Oh, go ahead, Bex.
Yeah, one of the things I just wanted to mention that kind of makes me happy, in addition to what everybody else said, because taking a walk every evening makes me really happy, but I have 2 really simple routines that make me happy. And one is having a cup of coffee in the morning, just making the coffee and then enjoying it. And in the evening, sometimes I'll have a cup of wine, or I'll have a cup of tea. And again, just making the tea, boiling the water, and then having a steaming cup and blowing on it to cool it off. I don't know, it just always puts me in a much better mood and kind of makes me happy.
That sounds lovely. It's like a little mini meditation right there.
And just to on a couple of things. So a few things that do affect my mental health is definitely things that go wrong in the van. Like if I don't have enough power to power my fan at night, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die of a heat stroke. And that's definitely it's definitely something that affects my mental health. And I work full time and I still go to school full time, and I'm still building my van, and that definitely gets very, very overwhelming. And going off of what Natalie said, even though I do consider myself an introvert, I still get like there are times where I get very lonely, and I could see that impacting my mental health in certain ways. But something that is so great and so positive about van life is that I literally open the door. I'm like, damn, I'm outside already. This is great. And then I go, and then I walk to the beach, and that's something that's just such a positive attribute of van life that I love so much. And so it kind of helps balancing all that, balancing the negative parts of it. And around when everything first started with COVID, I lost my dad to COVID and at the end of March. And he was helping me with the van. I wasn't very far along when he passed away. And so it made building my van a little more difficult and dealing with that. But when the accomplishments of like building certain things that I've never built a thing a day in my life. So working on this van and having these small accomplishments really helped a lot with feeling really good, because I may have just built a counter or built a bed frame and it may not seem as big, or we tend to downplay the things that we do, but that's a big thing. Building a van is such a huge thing, because I'm pretty sure most of us are not carpenters, but we're out here building vans, and doing all these things, and I think it's so amazing. So when I have those accomplishments, it feels really good. But when I can't get something right, like I have not gotten this water system, it's frustrating. But something that is so uplifting is the community, because I posted something about this water pump and not being able to figure out, and I can't even tell you how many people have messaged me and gave me suggestions. And it was just, I was so surprised, because I didn't post it on like on my page. I posted it on a story. And when people respond to stories, I'm like, wow, that's so amazing. And it helped I can't even tell you how much it helped. And so those are just things that affect my mental health positively too, is the community, is being able to be frustrated and knowing that other people were just as frustrated as me and are able to help.
Thank you for sharing that. I agree, community is everything in situations like this. And I just want to say my condolences to you. Does anyone else have anything else to share on this?
Yeah, kind of like, I guess off of what Ray's saying, like, I just finished my build. I'm very new to like being life on the road. And sometimes like the driving kills me. It's been like a week and we've already figured out that we can do 3-hour days max, like 3 hours driving and we're done. And more than that, my old house is done. Like we need to stop finding service, but like contrasting that with like wanting to be very off grid is also very hard. But like all of those things get very frustrating, and then like I kind of look around at what I'm in, like what I'm doing, and I'm like kind of like Ray, like shit, I'm outside already. It's like shit, I'm in this band that I built already. Like I guess I can't be too mad. Like that definitely, like just kind of like looking back and being like, this is where you are, like this is where we position ourselves. And I think like all of us, like we've intentionally put ourselves here to live this life, and like things suck sometimes, but also like there is that other side. And like I have found that kind of removing myself, and I'm going to take Jamie up on this writing thing, but like removing myself a little bit to get like that bigger picture of like, this is where you are, this is what you've done, like this is the life that you built, you're living it, like relax, has been so good for my mental health at sometimes.
Agreed. like we've set a goal this year that we're not driving more than 3 hours a day. We have to, yeah, that's about as much as my physical and mental state can handle. So, yeah. Anyone else? If not, we'll move on to the next question, which is about self-care. Okay. What self-care tools do you utilize to help find balance on the road? I'm going to drop this in the chat. And for me, like I said before, it's exercise, doing yoga, going for a run, strength training, even if it's just 20 minutes a day, no matter where I am, city, boondocking, like I have to find time to move my body. It really helps ground me. So that's one of my self-care tools.
I'll say, going along with my anxiety, one of my favorite quotes is, "Courage is fear, holding on a minute longer." And I always go back to that quote because it gets me through any situation where I feel like I'm failing or struggling. It reminds me that I always come out on the other side. And that's so important to go back to, because my anxiety isn't here to mock me, it's here to mold me. And so I use that to my advantage. I think it makes me unique, and it makes me realize that I have a strength that I need to re-realize constantly. So.
Beautiful. And yeah, you guys are welcome to share your thoughts in the chat as well. I'd love to hear some of your self-care tools that you utilize.
I just want to jump in, like for self-care, I have to like name my feelings. I love what Jamie says about like radical honesty, because I have to write things down as well, but like saying it out loud, like, I am sad. And then like crying and just like releasing that and just like getting rid of it all. So even if I have to just cry like in a ball, just get rid of it and just like, you know, acknowledge it, honor it, make time for it, and just move on.
Beautiful. I love that. I did my yoga teacher training a year ago, and one of my mentors said that tears are sacred, let them flow. And that's something that I just took and you know, ran with, you know, because I wasn't really a big crier before, but then after my yoga teacher training, I cry when I feel anything, and I just love it. It just feels so good. No matter where I am, I'm just bawling my eyes out, and then I'm good. You know, it's healing and cleansing. So I really appreciate that. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Yeah, going
jump in. Hey. At the risk of sounding silly, and this is really quick, I find that I can't really start to process my feelings or name them or even have a good cry unless the van is clean. Like, if things are not organized and clean and just so, my emotions spiral even more. And like in a house, maybe you can cope with it, but in a van, you live in a box. So like, if that's something that bothers you, get that shit sorted out so then you can sort out what's in here. And I just find that was really important for me to recognize and just complete as a ritual, like as part of my emotional processing.
Amen. Amen to that. I appreciate it. I'm going to drop a question in the chat for everyone. How does being on the road impact your self-care practices? And I agree with Farron on that. Like, my van has to be organized and clean. I mean, it's 80 square feet. If it's not, like, I lose it.
Absolute same. And I live with someone who, before entering van life, believed that the ideal way of sorting laundry was in a pile system. So please, if we could all collectively pray for me. he'll be like, relax. And I'm like, I cannot, you don't understand.
I hear you. I see a lot of comments in the chat. Jamie, you want to read some of those out for us?
Yeah. So we have, is this what you're asking me to read them?
Yeah.
Test my public reading skills? Okay.
Yes.
So Lola, foam roller and lacrosse ball for muscle and fascia tension, specific stretching techniques for their arms, hands, and neck after driving. Mantras they've created when driving on scary AF roads, affirming that they're safe. Rollerblading, hula hooping, and playing music and painting. Supporting each other through mental and emotional ups and downs. And practice patience, yes. And sharing feelings early. Working extra hard to make time and space. Sorry, I'm sort of like scanning and reading. These are all really good.
I really I resonate with the practicing patience. I think that living in a van has been instrumental in helping me practice patience, especially living with a partner that's male. So yeah, I resonate with that. We've gotten so much better. Communication, you know, it's everything. I have to say that for me, I found like that traveling slowly helps me to create more space to take care of my physical and mental health. When we first got on the road, and I think Jamie, you mentioned this earlier, when we first got on the road, we were just zooming around the country, not taking time to slow down and enjoy the places we're visiting or the people we're meeting. And that really took a toll on me. And since then, we have intentionally chosen to travel more slowly and to take time for ourselves, like listen to our bodies and our mental health if we need the time and the space to take it, no matter where we have to be. And that's been really helpful in, you know, in how it impacts our self-care practices on the road. Anyone else? Men or something.
We talked about this. We talked about this earlier, but I was gonna say again, just like checking in with friends. Like I honestly feel like I feel so much better when my phone does go off and it says check in with Naomi, and then I say, hey, can you hop on a call? And then an hour later, we're like happy crying together, and it's such a release and feels so much better. And it's never one of those things where I'm like, I'm gonna do this because I need to feel better. It just happens, and it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I must agree. Ooh,
Get you a Naomi.
You know you love me. Anyway, someone said in the chat, I always have a small spray bottle of rose and or orange blossom water with me. Spraying on myself and in the van makes a difference in my mood. Oh my gosh. Yes, I must agree. I see you, Farron. I must agree with that. Yeah. I started doing that a while back and then stopped, but thank you for the reminder. Essential oils, yes. Next, we have an activity. I'll let Anais walk you through that.
Okay, so this is a really good activity that Jamie came up with. So just again in your head, or if you need to write it down, make a list of habits or activities, and whether that be how many times you eat per day, if you have a good poo, you know, if you have any vices, how much water do you drink, how much time do you dedicate to work, how much time do you dedicate to your van or driving, whatever it is, just kind of make a list in your head. And I want you to reflect on how much time you dedicate to each. And just take inventory of the ones that really eat up your time and your day. And ask yourself, you know, are you prioritizing more unhealthy habits, more stressful ones? Or are you prioritizing the ones that, you know, are investments into your self-care practices and into your well-being? For me, I am trying to find balance. That has been my struggle for the pandemic, we'll just say, but also beyond. So I'm relearning this lesson over and over again until I get it right. Right now, I think I can do everything. I'm definitely falling onto that superwoman stereotype, and I'm trying to break free from her because I don't really like her that much. So I would love to hear in the chat what you guys are prioritizing and how you feel that you can make some adjustments. And if anyone in the panel wants to share, but I can also share if anyone's sharing in the chat. I love the essential oils thing, by the way. I'm so into that.
So I'll share a little about finding balance in the things that I do. I used to really prioritize school because, you know, I'm paying for it, I'm going for a reason, and then, but it was so, because I already spent so many hours at work. I spent 40 hours at work, at least. And then I'm like, okay, well, then I have to do my schoolwork, and I have to prioritize that as well, to the point where I was not prioritizing, like, making sure that I had time outside, that I was doing these things that I loved. And I'd get so overwhelmed by work in school that I would just either like be stagnant. And that kind of brought up a lot of like, oh my God, like I'm getting really antsy or I'm getting really irritated. And so the next semester, I really had to balance it out. And I spent a lot, it sounds terrible, but I spent a lot less time on school because I realized that I was just overthinking most of the things. And I did not have to go that hard on school, and I still did well. So I had to find balance with that. And now I spend, and it's also nicer outside. So now I spend more time outside, and maybe sometimes I'll do an assignment late, but that's okay. And I had to learn that that was okay to do that. And, you know, making sure that I take vacations because I physically go into work. So I have to make sure that I'm taking vacations and make sure that, you know, on the weekends that I do travel and that I do drive and you know, do the things that I love. So it was really hard finding that balance, but I was so just stagnant and so antsy with spending so much time on school that I was just like, I don't have a choice. I'm going to lose my mind if I do not spend more time outside. So
Yes, thank you. We chase 75 and sunny, so I hear you on the weather being nice. The weather is always nice over here. We have 4 wheels, so we leave if we don't like it.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Ray. I really like that quote that says, you know, you can't pour from an empty cup. I always hear Laura Edmondson talking about this. She has a great podcast, Let Us Rest. She's always talking about how radical it is to rest. And just in my mind, the way I had to make sense of that and really understand that is like, I have all this work to do all around me, and like, it sounds almost insane to just take a nap, but I have to in order to do all of these things and check things off my list. Thank you for sharing, Ray.
Amen. Rest is radical. That's my number one priorities these days, is getting rest, allowing myself to just let go of all the things that I have to do. And, you know, every day I try to take a 20-minute rest. Even if I'm not sleeping, just shut my eyes, just lay down and breathe, you know. Like I said, 75 and sunny, it's always nice outside. So even like stringing up a hammock, you know, like, yeah, it makes such a difference in my life. And limiting my screen time. So Jamie said she gets a door. Oh, talking about me. You know firsthand. Jamie knows that I get really crabby when I don't get my naps. Thank you, Jamie. Farron said prioritizing nutrition. That's a big one, especially on the road. Oh my gosh, it can get really difficult with having small space, not being able to store enough food. But yeah, that's definitely a priority. I recently started intermittent fasting, and it's been life-changing for me. Yeah, I feel so energized. I sleep better. I'm eating better. But I mean, it's only been like 2 weeks, so. But you know, I'll probably share more on this. Yes, Bree. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share on this? If not, that's it for our questions today. So I just want to say thank you to all the panelists for joining us and sharing so openly. I've learned so much from all of you, so I'm looking forward to adapting a lot of what you shared here tonight into my own life on the road. So thank you again. Before we close, Abby from Vanlife Pride would like to share a project she's working on with all of us. So Abby.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I wanted to share my art project. It's called Empowerment Via the Lens. Empowerment Via the Lens is an artistic photography project that I started a few years ago, specifically to empower women, female identifying, and non-binary people. This project is all about encouraging these individuals to renew confidence in themselves and also to share their stories through art. I hope one day to make a book or have an exhibit on the project showcasing the photos accompanied by quotes from the participants, but it's about so much more than that. It's about the experience and empowerment that each individual receives when participating in the project. At each shoot, I give the individual a piece of fabric and they wear only this. So during the shoot, I coach them through expressing themselves with the fabric and through connecting to their own beautiful, unique body, as well as harmonizing with the nature that we're in during the shoot. It's a very liberating experience, and the end result is a collaborative piece of art. My mission is for this to be as inclusive a project as possible, and I seek out diverse people from all walks of life, all ages, all body types and sizes, and of course all skin tones, and just people from everywhere. I believe that every individual is uniquely beautiful and powerful, and I just want to share their story through my art. And then this one piece of fabric that remains the same throughout the project represents the humanity that's in all of us and the oneness that unites us no matter our differences. And I'll have to say that since we've been on the road, I've asked a few people that I've met along the way to participate, and it's been such an amazing experience. Doing these shoots has definitely increased the connection, and what could have been like a fleeting acquaintance becomes something more through doing this project and connecting with the people that have done it along the way. But I really wanted to share it with everybody here because I want to invite anybody here in this group to participate in the project if they're interested. If you see that Natalie and I are passing through your area, don't hesitate to reach out, send us a direct message. You can also follow along on the project on Instagram at Empowerment Via the Lens. And I will post upcoming locations in our stories. I'm gonna see if I can share, oh no, I can't. I was gonna see if I could share a screenshot, but I can't. Anyway, you're all welcome to participate. You can check out examples of the project on that Instagram. Yeah, it should be, I'll put the name in the chat. But I'm also going to pass over to Natalie, and she's going to share a little bit about her own personal experience with the project, because she's been in front of the lens for me a few times.
Yeah, being someone that's not comfortable in front of the camera, it took a lot for me to be open to doing that. I had been dating Abby probably 4 months or so before I was willing to do photography work with her. She had a studio in Charleston when we were living there. And so it took me a long time to feel comfortable. I mean, even when I did, I was having to have a glass of wine or something. Even though we were intimate and close to each other, like that is a totally different situation when you're looking into a camera and you're being vulnerable that way. But after I did that project, it's one of the most liberating things I've ever done. And the fact that I can now travel with her and do it out in these crazy landscapes. I think one time we were at this waterfall and I just felt compelled to do it. So I grabbed a sheet and ran down to this waterfall. I was getting sprayed. And in that moment it was unreal. And to be able to have these photos to be able to visually see my reaction and to see that power that I had, it forced me to look at myself in a different way. So, and then every woman and every person that has done it since then has really kind of gone in it with, you know, reservation. And then when they see the finished product, it's unreal to be able to be in that moment with them as well, because they see how open that they are able to be in doing it. The first time I did it, we were in Rocky Mountain National Park. It was 19 degrees out. I got naked in the car. I had the sheet on. I was running out, like, you know, trying to dodge elk poop, and got to this spot, and I didn't feel how cold it was. It was so much internal feelings that I had that just came out. And that photo is still one of my favorite photos I've ever taken. And Abby has really, any photo she's taken of me, I really sit back and I'm like, I want to be that person. And that's pretty important to me, to be able to say that about myself, looking at myself in that way. So it's an amazing project. So if anyone's on the road, I highly recommend you do it. It's free. It's just something she wants to do to give a voice and recognition and power to anybody that's willing to do it. So yeah.
Thank you so much. That sounds so beautiful and powerful. I'll see y'all on the road. Before I pass it over to Ajane, I have one last poll. It's a survey poll, just for us at Diversified Van Life. Did you find this retreat valuable? Please let us know. It's a two-part survey. And while y'all are taking the poll, I would like to once again thank our sponsor, LifeStraw, for making such a wonderful, intimate, beautiful space possible. Thank you all so much for joining us and for being here for this event, for showing up, and to all our panelists, thank you again for sharing so openly, beautifully, and hopefully we can do this again. I want to pass it to Ajani to close us out this evening.
Awesome. Okay, let me get back to my spot over here. Thank you all so much for such a lovely event, for having us join you, and just, you know, be a witness to all of the amazing things that you were talking about. I know that there's a lot that we were able to take away from it. And yeah, so with all of that being said, we're gonna go ahead and close out. Same thing before we go ahead and go into the sound healing meditation. We're gonna have you all take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, to recenter yourself before going back out into the world, okay? So deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and just maintain that breath throughout the sound healing and meditation, okay? Whenever you all are ready to bring your awareness back into your body, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and come back into the space with the collective. Thank you all so much for having us join you. Thank you, Naomi, Anais, all of you, Diversified Van Life, all of you amazing panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ajani. That was beautiful. And on behalf of Diversified Van Life team, thank you all for joining us tonight. See y'all soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Love.
Much love, everyone.